What's up, 11D family? Matt here. Hey, so I've got some really exciting news that I want to talk to you about really quickly. 6 years ago, we kind of tried our hand at writing what we thought was going to be a joke record. Basically, kind of making fun of all of the folk artists in our area, a lot of the country artists that we grew up with. So we wrote 5 songs, kind of just as like a thought experiment to sort of poke fun at the genre, but then also sort of give our take on how we would write folk or country songs. And so all of these songs got put into a special EP called Attack of the Mountain Medley that we released in 2012. To date, that EP has been one of the most successful releases that we've ever had. But because it was totally out of our wheelhouse, it was out of our genre, we sort of didn't really take it seriously. So at the time, we made a really limited edition pressing of this record. Only about 300 copies of it exist. I have the only surviving copy of that EP in existence until today. We've had people ask us for years now to please put this back into production, to press it again. And for whatever reason, we just did not want to or think that we needed to. I feel like a few months ago, we kind of woke up and we were like, why don't we just give people what they want, what they've asked for? I'm happy to say that as of right now, this is no longer the only copy of this that I know of still in existence. We're actually pressing Attack of the Mountain Medley onto vinyl. I have in my hand right here the very first test pressing of the record. For those of you who are unfamiliar with the vinyl making process, basically we send our songs via the internet down to our friends who own a wax museum in Florida. They basically walk around the museum, and whoever they feel like is the least important famous person that they have a wax figure of, they melt that person down into our shitty music. That way their legacy lives on in the worst way possible. None of that's true. We send this off to our friends in Florida. They create a master for our record. They create a print to be able to press the album, and they send us test pressings to see how well those first few records that they pressed do. They send them back to us, and we basically tell them whether or not we think they sound great or not. They always do. These test pressings just got signed off on, so right now this album is in production currently. We are doing an incredibly limited run of this vinyl because we're going out of our way to make sure that the vinyl looks really, really cool, that everybody that's been asking for this record is not disappointed. We literally pulled the sessions out, remixed, remastered them specifically to sound better on the vinyl format. I love opening up all these old sessions from when we recorded this back in 2012. We literally were in an attic of a barn with no air conditioning, and I had one like $200 microphone I bought off of eBay, and the whole thing was done just on this one microphone in this super, super hot attic in the middle of Western North Carolina. Even though it was probably one of the most painful experiences recording it in the heat of summer, it's also been one of the most rewarding experiences because we had no idea that everybody was going to take to it the way that they did. Just like we originally did only 300 copies of the CD when we released it, we're doing even fewer this time. I guess because we're gluttons for punishment. There are only going to be 100 copies of this album pressed ever on yellow vinyl. As of right now, we don't have plans to keep pressing more of this than just this initial 100. It's a super limited run, but that's kind of what makes it so special. We have gone out of our way to make sure that everything about this EP makes you all happy and that you feel really great about it. And for those of you who are wanting to take a little bit of a deeper dive into some of the stories behind this album and also sort of what the vinyl production process looks like, we actually have an entire 11D Life podcast episode dedicated to this release. You can check that out wherever you download podcasts. These are going to be available in our Rock Candy online store, but they're also going to be at the 2 comeback shows that we have coming up this month on 4/19 and 4/20 in Columbia, South Carolina, and Greenville, South Carolina. Assuming that we have some left, we're going to be bringing a lot of those vinyl to these comeback shows. You guys are awesome. I hope you are living your absolute best life, that joy is finding you wherever you are, and I hope that somehow the music that we make is playing a part in that. We are hard at work right now, even just behind the camera, on brand new 11tyseven material. It's obviously going to sound nothing like Attack of the Mountain Medley. We're getting really excited about that and are going to have some announcements about a brand new 11D release coming up very, very quickly. High fives and hugs to everybody over at the 11D Life Facebook group. Thank you to everybody who keeps checking out the podcast. Thank you so much for the kind words and for the hate mail. Thanks for everything. You guys are awesome.